If you would have asked me a couple months ago whether Game Pass was worth it, I probably would have told you to hold off until Black Ops 6 releases. And if you weren't a fan of Call of Duty, I would have told you not even to consider it. But fast forward to today, and I'd say Game Pass is back to being one of the best deals out there for both Xbox and PC players. You see, for the first half of this year, Game Pass felt like it was in a bit of a drought. Few games were being added monthly, and even fewer were of any quality. And in the midst of this drought, Xbox decided to raise the price of all Game Pass tiers across the board. Now, a couple months ago, I made a video talking about these price changes with Game Pass, Xbox's potential troubles with the FTC, and the overall state of Xbox Game Pass. At the time, Game Pass was being referred to as a degraded product by the FTC. And at the time, I agreed. But since then, while nothing has changed on the FTC front, in the past couple of months, Game Pass's value has seemingly tripled overnight. And because of this, I thought it'd be nice to revisit the subject of Game Pass, why it's now better than ever, the games that have been added, and my game recommendations for those of you who do have it. So let's get started. Since I last talked about Game Pass in July, upwards of 40 games have been added to the subscription, and my attitude towards Game Pass as a whole has completely shifted. While I've been a many years-long Game Pass enthusiast, up until now, I was starting to question whether or not to continue my subscription. There just wasn't that many games that I found myself routinely playing, besides Izonzo and a couple games on EA Play. That being said, in October, Game Pass began to prove its worth again, and now 3 weeks into November, I have zero thoughts of doing away with it. Of course, a month ago when Call of Duty Black Ops 6 came, it was a massive and long anticipated addition to Game Pass's catalog that definitely bolstered the subscription's worth for many, including myself. But that was just the beginning. Along with the addition of COD's most anticipated title, Game Pass also received a mass influx of quality games, such as Modern Warfare 3, the second South Park game, Inscryption, which I cannot recommend enough. If you have Game Pass, play this game immediately, especially if you're a fan of deck builders. And even if you're not, the gameplay, story, and overall atmosphere of this game is top tier. Without a doubt, it's definitely one of the best things Game Pass has to offer at the moment. Game Pass has also added Sifu to its roster, which is just a beautiful game. Its mechanics are entirely unique, its combat is fluid, fast-paced, and just a joy to watch. It honestly feels like the fighting mechanics from the Arkham Knight games were fully fleshed out and made into an insanely challenging Karate Kid style game. Sifu is just amazing, and it's another game which I have to shout out any chance I get. It's that much fun. All of these games I just mentioned arrived in October alone, and I hope you can start to see why my attitude towards Game Pass has begun to shift. It seems Xbox was fully prepared to back up their increases to Game Pass's prices. With the higher cost of the subscription has come a significant uptick in the quality and quantity of games on the Game Pass catalog. My only complaint currently is that this uptick in the caliber of Game Pass games didn't come sooner. I say this given that the recent price increases to Game Pass were announced in July and arrived in September. And this time period is when Game Pass was arguably at its worst. With only 5 games arriving in August and 6 in September, there really wasn't much to get excited about. Yes, it is nice to be able to play the Mafia games, but besides that, there was little I could justify playing for an extended period of time. Now contrast this with the 12 games we got in October, which is more than we got in both August and September, and I would argue that these games are of much better quality overall. Currently in November, we have 16 games that have been added to Game Pass. Damn! And there is a lot to get excited about here. Most notably, Stalker 2, the almost 20-year awaited sequel to the widely praised Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl game. A massive AAA title that from all angles and appearances looks great. Along with Stalker 2, other notable titles such as the Spyro trilogy, Played Up, the newest Alien game, and StarCraft 1 and 2 have also come to Game Pass. All of this goes to show just how much Game Pass has improved and surprised me over these recent months. Yes, I still obviously feel upset about the price change and can easily foresee a future where the price of Game Pass once again exceeds its value. But currently, I can't help but recognize that Xbox has backed up their decision to raise prices with quality AAA titles, unlike the 5 to 6 indie games Game Pass subscribers have been used to in the months leading up to October. Now looking forward, this trend of quality games released en masse looks to continue. Next month, along with many other games yet to be announced, Game Pass subscribers will get to play the new Indiana Jones game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I personally am super enthusiastic to get my hands on. It looks to bring a very unique take on the action-adventure genre, and of course offers the potential of a great story set in a much-loved universe. Along with all of the games being added to Game Pass next month, Xbox has already confirmed many titles that will be released on Game Pass in 2025. Titles such as the next installment in the Doom trilogy, which I am beyond hyped for. Atomfall, which is a Fallout-like game in its setting made by the creators of Sniper Elite. Avowed, which is Obsidian's newest title, and Subnautica 2. All of these games are slated to come to Game Pass next year, and I cannot wait to get my hands on all of them. But while I do anticipate what's to come, let's not overlook the fantastic titles already available. As we come to the close of this video, I want to shout out some of the hidden gems that I think both new and old subscribers of Game Pass will enjoy. First off, Izonzo, which I have a whole video covering, so I'll keep its praise short. But it's basically Battlefield 1 with the realistic mechanics of a game like Hell Let Loose. It's truly a masterpiece that offers many hours of fun. Next, one that I rediscovered quite recently and was overjoyed to find out it was even on Game Pass, Burnout Paradise Remastered. Now, if you never got a chance to play the original Burnout Paradise, it was, and in my opinion still is, one of the best racing games of all time. Its arcade style that focuses on stunt jumps, wrecks, and insane speeds is truly a blast, and the remaster has brought this game back to its glory days. What really makes this game a hidden Game Pass gem for me is that it includes all of the original Burnout Paradise's DLC for free, which means multitudes of free movie-inspired cars, motorcycles, cop cars, super vehicles, and a massive expansion to the map. If you're even slightly a fan of racing games, and you have Game Pass, Burnout Paradise Remastered is a must. The last game I want to shout out here is Mount & Blade Bannerlord, a game which is famous on PC for its large-scale battles and army building, but is starkly spoken of on console. Now I for one have quite enjoyed its presence in my Xbox library, and have sunk many hours into it. It plays surprisingly well on console, especially when it comes to the on-foot battles and sieges. It's a stellar game for all fans of grand strategy, and is yet another game I can't recommend enough, if it's in your wheelhouse. All in all, Xbox Game Pass has made an incredible turnaround in the past few months, with a significant increase in both the quality and quantity of its games. It's once again proving to be a must-have subscription for Xbox and PC players. While the price hike earlier this year felt unjustified at the time, Xbox seems to have delivered on their promise to make Game Pass a premium service, with an impressive lineup of AAA titles and hidden gems. So what are your favorite games on Game Pass? Your overall opinion on the subscription service as a whole, and why are you or why aren't you a fan of Game Pass? I'd love to hear your feedback. If you enjoyed this video and want to see what I thought about Game Pass just a couple months ago, check out this video for a more in-depth take on Xbox's struggle with the FTC. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like or even subscribing. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next week.